welcome to the first Fantasy Football Sniper Live broadcast. Playing a little original music from my band. Well, we see who's out there. Who is fanatical about fantasy football? Coming on in. I'm just going to start talking in case anyone wants to watch this video from the beginning. So let's start it right at the beginning. We're going to go with the news and notes. So, Paul Perkins ran with the second team offense. Anyone who's watched Paul Perkins, very unexciting. I don't even know, I love Barkley, and I'm big on handcuffs. I'm not sure how much. I'm not that thrilled about even handcuffing Paul Perkins. And that's crazy considering how much you have to invest to get Barkley. But I don't even know if Perkins, I guess if you're drafting 18 rounds or something, I just kind of feel like if Barkley goes down, that it's not like Perkins is going to come in and be startable for you. So a lot of people get handcuffed crazy. I don't know if Perkins, we'll see how he goes. But looks like he's going to be the backup. Wayne Gallman is not doing well. Not a shocker there, right? Struggling with his drops. He should be struggling. He's not a lock to make the team. That's not surprising. Who's this guy? Ishmael Hyman on the Browns. Well, everyone's hyped up on the Browns, right? The summer love affair is in full swing on the Browns everywhere you read. Stock up on your Browns. I don't know if that's the case. Does Hyman have a waiver free agent appeal later on? I know no one's drafting him. But I don't know. That's a funny name. I think I'm going to remember that for later on. We'll keep an eye on his progress, much like the Emperor in Star Wars 1. Watch his career with great interest. Titans need a tight end. Titans need a tight end. I don't know if this guy's it either. I loved Mariota. That first game he played, didn't he throw 5 touchdowns? One of those first games he played that first year. In the first half, broke all kinds of records. I really wanted my Eagles to draft Mariota, but that really has not worked out. That offense has been terrible. I'm not even that high on Derrick Henry. He's pretty high on lists. I don't think Derrick Henry, a lot of empty points out of Derrick Henry at the second half of the year between the 20s. I think that might be a landmine just waiting to explode it on you. I don't think I even want Derrick Henry. And I certainly don't want Corey Davis or anything else. I don't even think I want Mariota anymore, and I loved him. Gio. He said they're buying into the playbook. We'll see. But Gio had a great start to his career, sort of an afterthought. Joe Mixon's the man. I'm kind of, Trevion Williams is not a high draft capital by any means, but that was his coach at A&M. Maybe that means he can push Gio. I don't think it's going to take a whole lot to beat Gio out for playing time, but Gio is the veteran. He's productive enough. Maybe down the line. Oh, Dorial Green Beckham. That guy on paper, he looks like a monster beast of a player. Big, tall, second rounder. Has a lot of problems off the field. For some reason, kind of invisible when he's on the field. Hard to do when you're his size and his speed and everything. The lack of impact this guy has. DGB, it's unbelievable considering all the skill he appears to have on paper. Just never works out. He doesn't have a job. Busted on marijuana. In 10 years, that's not even going to matter. But these days, that's going to blow him out of the league. Welcome aboard. If you're joining into us, feel free to hit the chat box and throw out any comments on any players. Hopefully, I have this set up right. I have a chat box visible on the screen. I'm going to check a couple of my settings, make sure I'm not missing any chats. I hate to leave you at DGB. Dante Moncrief. There's a guy that, big, strong, somewhat productive, flashes here and there. He's going to have an opportunity in Pittsburgh. I think he could be. Is he a sneaky veteran ad during the draft? What's his ADP? Not sure what I think about Moncrief. 13th round. I think that's worth it. That's a pretty good price. Who else are you going to take? I guess Parker's kind of in the same boat. I don't want Funchess. I like Valdez-Scantling a lot, and I love Deshaun Jackson. But let's look down even farther. That is a fantasy wasteland. Isabella's got some hope. Tyrell could hit the home run. John Brown. Man, he flashed strong when he came back from... That's the guy from Arizona that had the internal issues that knocked him out, right? He was awesome when he came in strong and then he gets hurt. Yeah, there's a few sleeper candidates here. I think the end of the wide receiver list. And I think Moncrief's a guy you might be able to plug in right away. Definitely is a possible flex starter. Keep an eye on him. I think he's going to win that job. He's getting praised. I can see Big Bang. James Washington isn't, everyone just thinks go with the next young guy, but James Washington had that opportunity. I'm not sure if he's going to get that. I think Moncrief can beat him out, but we'll see how the summer goes. Cameron Meredith is left off the projection. Not healthy enough. Man, even if you make that team, you got a shot with Drew Brees chucking that ball around, but that's not good news for Meredith. Javorius Allen, he moves over to the Saints. That was the guy in Baltimore, right? That looked like he had some touches for a while. He's going to have a hard time keeping his job. And how bad is this for Ronald Jones? Oh, man. It's being projected that Peyton Barber is certainly likely to finish with more yards than Ronald Jones. Jones is a young guy, even young for second-year players, especially young. But, oh, my gosh, a dreadful preseason. I don't have the stats in front of me. I remember it was awful. It seemed like he would touch the ball and fumble it. Now, 1.9 yards per carry, so pretty dreadful in the regular season. Not a particularly gifted pass catcher. This is crazy. This guy was drafted pretty high, right? And he's getting beat out by Peyton Barber. Man, that is brutal. If Jones can't outproduce Barber, I think he's in for a world of hurting. So that's the headlines. Let's go to the other page. I like checking out the most recent headlines. Chad Williams? I did see a blurb somewhere in here about Hakeem Butler, who is one of their draft picks. They have Kirk, who looks like a stud young wideout, and they have Fitzgerald, who's solid as they come. That's the epitome of diversifying, right? The veteran and the rookie. And I looked at this list. I know Isabella, they drafted the highest. I think he might have been second round. And then I think it was Butler and then Keyshawn Johnson. So I don't know anything about these guys. They sound like football names, right? Butler and Keyshawn Johnson. But it looks like Isabella, who was the highest drafted of them all, he's in line for that third receiver role. And, we don't know anything really about him, so we'll just go with the guy who's drafted the highest until the more summer action comes our way. But I did hear in some drafts, someone took Butler before Isabella. I would not recommend that. There's nothing coming out on the newswire about Butler being promising other than that's an awesome football name. So he's got that going for him. Maybe he can make a splash sometime soon. But right now it looks like Isabella is the guy to pick out all those young wideouts in Arizona. I think that could have the promises of an exciting offense. With that young quarterback running around, and they have a new offensive scheme. Oh, my God. Did you ever watch any Cardinal games last year? So it's not the same offense. That offense last year was run the ball, run David Johnson, an athletic freak. Let's just run him right up the middle every play. That was pretty much their offensive game plan last year. Super safe. Everything's so conservative. It was like 1952. So they're going to go the complete opposite direction. The pendulum swings high. A lot of plays, hurry up kind of offense. We'll get some more information as we roll along. Here it says Dave Montgomery, who is probably one of the best rookie running backs. I think I like him more than the kid in Oakland. They both have Jacobs in Oakland and Montgomery both have awesome opportunity to be like number one stud running backs right away. They have that opportunity. I think Montgomery has some more exciting talent. Jacobs isn't quite as splashy. But yeah, Howard's gone. Tyreek Hill is pretty tiny pass catching specialist. So Montgomery, if he doesn't, he should be getting the number one carries right out of the gate. And if he doesn't, there's something wrong. Injury or incompetence or something. But it said he's making the most highlight reel plays of the offseason. So where do I have him in our list? If you didn't get a copy of this list, get a copy of this, because even if you don't agree with how I rank my players, you can easily change it. Chances are 80% of it is going to be pretty agreeable. I green light the ones I like, and I highlight in red, like Darius Gurse, the ones that I do not want to draft on my team. I make little notes about, like Derrick Henry has empty numbers, just to remind me Fournette is always hurt. Marlon Mack, not much of a receiver. Things like that I'll put in there that you can kind of de-escalate or escalate, make it bigger or smaller in the font, red or green light it, things like that. So download it. It's free in the description for right now. And I think, that'd be an awesome tool for you to have. I keep it in ADP format. So say I love Nick Chubb. I'm not just bouncing him, copy and pasting him towards higher in the list. I leave the list where it is, because my philosophy is when I'm drafting, I don't want to take Aaron Jones too early. I want to know when it's creeping up his way. Chances are someone's going to take Fournette and Freeman, Damian Williams. They're all going to go before Aaron Jones. So I want to make sure I love Aaron Jones, but I don't want to pay too high of a price. And same with Sony Michel, who I have greenlit. So that's kind of my strategy there. If I start juggling my list around, it's too many papers to look at. I have to make notes of ADP. For me, it's much easier to look at the ADP as my default, and then I can find my green names where I need them. This really helps when you have 30 seconds on the clock. So definitely check out the notes in the description. Let's go back to the news and notes. Eli Manning doesn't think he's in competition with first-round quarterback Daniel Jones. Eli Manning is going to have to make a comeback of all comebacks. That was a super awful quarterbacking performance last year. I mean, as an Odell owner, there was nothing more frustrating than trying to watch Eli get him the ball and trying to make plays. That was an awful performance by him. He got benched middle of that year. He had that long starting streak. They benched him. Then the coach get fired, and they brought him back the next week. He really is not. I'm totally shocked that they're bringing him back even. I mean, that was a really not a good performance. I would want to cut bait. Not surprising they spent a first-round pick on a quarterback, because Eli was bad. And that's got me wondering. I had Barkley as my surefire number one running back over everybody, number one pick. But then the more I think about it, I watch that Eli offense. I mean, I think eventually they're going to have to turn to Daniel Jones by Halloween. Definitely by Thanksgiving. They're not going to be successful with Eli. He just doesn't have it. Kind of reminds me of, and I hate the Giants, but I appreciated Eli's skills when he was younger. He definitely was a clutch quarterback, but those days are over. I mean, I don't think he has those skills. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he can make one huge comeback and really put up some numbers, but I'm thinking Daniel Jones this time. This is going to be a mess. They're going to trot out Eli in the beginning. He's going to scuffle. They're going to wait for Daniel Jones to learn the playbook. Eventually, they're going to bring him in. It's going to be nothing but headlines in New York. They're going to be losing games. It's going to be ugly. There's going to be dissension in the ranks. People talking about, Team Jones versus Team Eli. Eventually, Jones is going to get in there no matter. They're not winning games, and Eli's not lighting it up. So eventually, Jones will be in there, and then it's going to take him the chances of a young quarterback coming in and being successful in New York on top of it. Man, he would have to be an amazing exception. And I don't think that's going to happen. So that means you have bad Eli in the beginning, and then you have a whole lot of raw Daniel Jones. Like if Jones was in there week one, you could hope by midseason he might catch some kind of stride. But I just see this as a complete washout of a year. It's a shame for Barkley, because he might be the best running back I've ever seen, like ever. An amazing player, but last year's offense, terrible. This year is shaping up to be a complete washout. By the time Barkley has any chance of a hopeful offense, he's going to be in year 3 with a whole lot of ate in the box, crushing them for the first 2 years. And so I don't know if Barkley's going to be able to live up to be the number one running back of all time. It's really not looking good around Barkley. So, but talent-wise, he's amazing. Eli is a headache. This is a mess. McCoy, Gore, Singletary. Singletary is the rookie. I was talking to my friend about McCoy, and I was like, he's just going to be just good enough to be so annoying that they're not going to be able to bench him. And then he was like, yeah, just kind of like the way Frank Gore was when he got old. And I was like, Frank Gore's on that team too. And he was like, oh no. So you got McCoy and Frank Gore both doing the old running back who won't go away. Just good enough to make it on the field, but not good enough. I mean, maybe in the NFL it might be serviceable, and then you could have a young Singletary. But fantasy-wise, this is worst case nightmare scenario, because you're going to draft Singletary and you're going to have high hopes. What is Singletary's ADP? This is going to be a nightmare. I'm on fantasy football calculator. Oh, 11th round. All right. Well, that's not bad. But at some point, you're going to want to start him. And watching that horror show of McCoy and Frank Gore stealing touches and stealing touchdowns off you, and Singletary comes in, he's going to blow open a big run, and then they're going to go back to one of these other guys. That's crazy. Didn't we just read a blurb that Peyton Barber is going to beat out Jones here the week before? They said they're really excited about Ronald Jones. Is that a false, like they're just going to try to compliment him and hope that he rises to the challenge? I don't know. Maybe. Let him do it for somebody else. Don't you draft him. Tyreek Hill. I have Tyreek Hill in a keeper league, and people were offering me the worst trade offers. The best one being Kareem Hunt, but Kareem Hunt's out for 8 games plus a bye week, so that was no good. But that was the best of my trade offers, and I'm thinking, I'm rolling the dice. Tyreek Hill is probably going to get 4 games. I don't think the actual violence may not have been his cause, but he did have some really aggressive words on recording. So there was another player that didn't say anything quite as bad as Hill. He got 4 games. So I think Hill's getting, it said the maximum is 4 games. I'm thinking the minimum is 4 games. Even though things went well last week, I think he's going to get 4 games. So then, he's such an amazing player on the field. But then someone offered me Brandon Cooks, and I countered, and I wanted Brandon Cooks, and I'm taking a spin on Josh Gordon. I'll go with that, and I gave up Tyreek Hill because I know Cooks is probably the most steady wide receiver in the league. And this is the first time in a while he's going to have the same quarterback 2 years in a row. And then the same scheme and everything. He's been bouncing around and still picking up 3 different teams in 3 years. He still has like 1,100 yards. He had only 5 touchdowns, but the other years he was getting 7 and 8. Tyreek Hill usually has 7 or 8. Last year he had 12 or 13 if you count the running. So I think they could both land around 8, 9 touchdowns. And then I'm thinking I don't have to deal with all that. Tyreek Hill's an amazing player, but all that guesswork on how many games he may or may not get suspended. So I would trade Tyreek Hill if you're in a keeper league, but don't just give him away. Hope that he gets minimum as in terms of fantasy, in terms of ethics. I'll let you decide that. But for fantasy football purposes, Cooks was, I think, a pretty good deal for me. And I got a free Josh Gordon, so still got somebody in trouble off the field on my team, but who has immense talent just to fill in that vacancy. Oh man, that was 20 minutes it went by already. This is my first run at it on doing YouTube Live. Hopefully you're checking out the notes page, totally free for now. At some point, I'm going to make that for Patreons. I'm going to keep updating it throughout the year. Definitely, I love free agency and waivers. So this is going to help you with your draft, but I'm reading sites that say if you don't draft while you're sunk. That's not even true. I've had the worst drafts, made great trades and waivers and free agencies, and saved my team, won championships. So we want to have the best draft possible and do great free agency waiver acquisitions. We want it all, right? That's your best statistical chance to win. So we're setting this up for your draft, but Continue to hang out, subscribe. If you appreciate what I'm doing, check out the Patreon. It's only $1, and you can get these updated notes. Right now, these notes are free. Check them out in the description. Change them if you agree with or disagree with any of the notes that I have in here. Put it in the comments box and plead your case. Maybe you can change my colors on me. Change my mind, change my colors. So definitely check it out. Lots of cool steals and players that you can snipe to give you the advantage. I'll catch you next time. Oh, I should do a better closing than that, right? Where's that music? All right, I will catch you next time on the Fantasy Football Sniper.